South Africa's #1 cheesecake needs Lancewood, South Africa's #1 cream cheese.
From hundreds of entries, South Africa has voted for and chosen their top 6 Lancewood cheesecake recipes, and we are here to mentor these incredible finalists and prep them for the finale.
One of our finalists will jet off on an all-expenses-paid trip to the home of cheesecake itself, New York City.
I'm Neil Anthony. I'm a private chef based in Cape Town, but I do cook all over the world. I'm involved in the amazing Lancewood cheesecake hunt so that we can find the best cheesecake in South Africa. And then I'm looking for great flavor, great taste, and possibly something a little bit fun, a little bit interesting. Welcome, welcome ladies. First of all, a massive congratulations. Well done for getting this far. And what I'm going to do today is very simply and quickly just show you a couple of little tips and do's and don'ts for decorating. First of all, we're going to start off with a whole cheesecake. Then I'm going to move on to a slice of cheesecake. You know, one of my top tips is always to decorate in threes. And when you're decorating on a round plate and you've got the slice in the one corner, that leaves you nice sort of 2 little open corners to decorate with. I use the full-fat plain cream cheese in my cheesecake. It is quite rich, so I like to cut mine with a little bit of creme fraiche, and what we also get then is the ability to stick things onto the cheesecake when decorating it. So I'm gonna just use some toasted hazelnuts on this one, some freeze-dried raspberries, and then I'm gonna pile it nice and high with some popcorn. You have to use edible garnishes. You want this at room temperature, so you don't want it too cold. Not gonna damage the cheesecake any way, shape or form. We're gonna go straight on with the toasted hazelnuts. What we've got here is a freeze-dried raspberry powder. So straight on with your caramel popcorn, break it up a little bit. And here you can go quite high on this, give your cheesecake a little bit of volume. Tiny bit of beetroot powder. So there we have it, the plain vanilla cheesecake topped with salt caramel popcorn, beetroot powder, hazelnuts and raspberry.
How do you make your salted caramel popcorn?
It is really just normal popcorn, so make a plain popcorn, make it old school in a pan. Simply make a caramel popcorn in, give it a good stir, a good bash around, out onto a tray, and then as it's hot, just sprinkle a really good coarse sea salt over the top. Moving on to the sliced cheesecake, we're going to spin some sugar in a bit, so we're going to get some caramel going. So the spun sugar is actually really simple. It's really just some caster sugar that we're going to make a caramel out of. So just keep agitating your sugar as it starts to melt. While that happens, good local South African fruit. Just got some fresh raspberries going down onto our plate here. So we're going to take a little bit of the freeze-dried raspberries and just dust that on top for a little bit of prettiness. As you can see, our sugar is nicely caramelized. Almost at that sort of bittersweet stage, not too blonde, not too dark. This is just a bowl of normal cold water. Take your pan, pop it in. I'm going to spin it just over this metal rod. You can use a butcher's steel, you can use all sorts of things. It needs a little bit of oil on it just to stop the sugar from sticking. So just any sort of oil you use, either brush it on or apply it. If you want to form a perfect dome, all you do is oil the back of a ladle, and then you go on a more sort of gentle drizzle. The higher you drizzle it from, the thinner it lands. And that's what it ends up looking like. So yeah, it just slides off. It's still quite manipulable. You don't touch it too much because the moisture from your hands goes onto the sugar. So one last little thing we're going to do. Got some walnuts here that I just also toasted and crumbed. They go down. Last little touch. Some of our Lancewood creme fraiche. So warm your spoon up in some water. And then you get that. And there we have it, ladies. A New York style baked cheesecake, spun sugar, walnut crumble, creme fraiche and raspberries.
I'm going to show you some quick, easy tips today just to zhuzh up your cheesecakes, and also just show you some ideas of how to fill the cracks, because my cheesecakes always crack. So let's get started. I'm going to use the Lancewood creme fraiche. It's a beautiful consistency to spread over your cheesecake, and it's a great way to fill your cracks. So I'm just going to spread that over the top of the cheesecake, and I just like to Spread it all over, and what's great about it is it's got a slightly sour taste, so it just cuts through the richness of the cheesecake. You wouldn't even know that there was a crack there. So now we've got some chocolate shards, we've got little meringues that we can sandwich together, I've got some chocolate shavings and a little bit of a caramel drizzle as well. So I'm going to start off with the chocolate shards, and because the cheesecake's soft, they just gently push them into the cheesecake, and this just creates a little bit of height as well. And you really can use any kind of flavors that you want. I'm going to top that with a little few white chocolate shavings, and then I'm just going to do a little drizzle of the caramel. So just be decadent with your toppings. And then what you can also do is you can actually use your creme fraiche to just sandwich your little meringues together as well. And they look a little bit like macaroons. And then I've also got some little, what I call little meringue kisses. And they've got a lovely little vip in them. So you can just pop those on as well. Just kind of pile them on. I even have a few little gold balls just for a little bit of bling. I like to do a little dusting of icing sugar because icing sugar makes everything look pretty. And finally, just a little bit of edible glitter. So if you're not a fan of chocolate, I've got another little tip for you. So this is another cheesecake that also had a big crack in it. I just spread the top of it with the creme fraiche, and I've covered it with sliced strawberries and raspberries. And then a tip to just keep your fruit fresh is to cover it with a little sugar glaze. And just get a pastry brush and then just brush your fresh fruit. So there you have it, 2 very different cheesecakes and 2 great ways to fill cracked cheesecakes.
Why do cheesecakes crack?
It's when the cheesecake actually heats up a little bit too fast in the oven, in the cooking process. And then when it cools down, it actually cracks. You can actually prevent it by putting them in a water bath, but then you do need to adjust your cooking time. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you've learned some useful tips, and I look forward to seeing you at the final. Now let's eat. To find all the top 6 recipes, go to lancewoodcakeoff.co.za for some great cheesecake inspiration.
South Africa's #1 cheesecake needs Lancewood, South Africa's #1 cream cheese.